We're going to start with this Three Sisters project now. I've still got the view horizontal so that we can look at these pages. There is no page 2 on purpose. Let's scroll down to this page that has 4 parts in it. We're going to look at the crank pin. Simple part, 1/8 inch diameter, 1 inch long. SolidWorks, File, New. This should be Review, Part, OK. I'm going to, by default, SolidWorks open in the Features toolbar. I want the Sketch toolbar. You have to have a sketch in order to produce a feature. I'm going to click the sketch button, and now I need to select a plane, and I'm just going to select the front plane because you got to pick one, right? I'm going to draw a circle, and that circle needs to have a relationship, and the relationship that I'm going to choose 99.99 times out of 100 is the origin, the center of your circle centered about the origin. I'm going to click OK. It is still underdefined. It knows where it is in the XY plane. It is centered on the origin, but it doesn't know how big it is. That's why it's still blue. As soon as I give a diameter to it, it will become fully defined and the sketch will become black. So I'm going to click Smart Dimension, still in the sketch toolbar. I'm going to click on the circle. I'm going to type in 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch, and wham! There it is, and it is fully defined. I'm going to go down here to where it says IPS, and I'm going to click it and select Edit Document Units. And I've been getting some weirdness on this, but it says it's at 4, but it's not showing 4. I'm going to take it to 3, hit OK, and now it's showing 3. Very weird. I gotta figure that out. Hopefully that's just my install and not yours. We have a fully defined sketch. Let's extrude it. I'm going to go to Features. I'm going to click on Extrude Boss Base, and I am going to, you can do this blind. I'm going to select mid-plane just to show you mid-plane if you don't remember it. I'm going to make this 1 inch long, and I am going to get now a cylinder with a plane in the center, which is handy sometimes, and that will come into play later. All right, this part is done except for one thing. We need to specify the material. So I'll right-click Material, and I will click Edit. I said that we were looking for either 1020 or 1018. 1020, there it is. Click Apply, and then Close. And this now has true mass. Okay, and I'll show you later. I'll show you now. We go into Evaluate and click on Mass Properties, and it will tell us all sorts of things about this particular 1/8 inch diameter, 1 inch rod. How much it weighs, what its mass is, the volume, surface area, center of mass, all sorts of things. Okay. Typically, we're just looking for the mass. I already have this part saved, so I'm going to close this. But actually, I take that back. I'm going to save it. We'll say File, Save As. This is the crank pin. This is in my Three Sisters project folder within the Parts subfolder. It's in here in Parts. Okay, and that's the crank pin. You would hit save, I'm hitting cancel. Next part, the brass bushing. I'm going to show you some tricks on the brass bushing. So this is a 1/2 inch diameter with a 7/16 shoulder. So File, New. We're still in inches. New part, OK. I'm going to show you 2 ways to make this. I'm going to show you the way that you're probably most familiar with, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm also going to show you a faster way. So let's sketch. We'll just choose the front plane. I'm going to draw a circle. I'll draw 2 circles, so I don't feel like doing the hole wizard thing. And I'm going to Smart Dimension. This center hole is 1/4 of an inch. This outer diameter is 1/2 an inch. And we're going to hit OK. And I'm going to select Features, Extrude Boss Base. And SolidWorks sees this as a donut correctly, and it wants to know how far I want to extrude it blind, and I believe it's 0.26. Yes, the 1/2 inch diameter section is 0.26 or 260 thousandths long. So, got it. Now, I need to draw this smaller diameter right centered on the same origin, just a small shoulder. So, go back to SolidWorks. I'm going to get normal to this view. I'm going to right click on this surface. I'm going to click on Sketch. Okay, I want to draw two circles. I'm going to draw this one, and I'm going to let it snap to the existing one so it's the same size. And I'm going to draw another one just slightly smaller than my overall. And let Smart Dimension, and since this is blue, even though it says 0.25, I'm going to make sure it is. And this is 7/16, and if you want, you can use your calculator, or you can type in 7 divided by 16, and it comes up with the decimal equivalent. I'm not going to change the units on this for right now. This is fine. So now I have a new sketch for another feature. Click on Extrude Boss Base. SolidWorks sees a donut. It's even going the right way. It just needs to go 250 thousandths because we're 510 overall, and we've already gone 260, so 250 would get me 0.51. I'm going to click OK. All right. So nothing wrong with that, but we have two features and two sketches. Okay. That's fine. I'm going to close. I won't close it. I'll just start a new one. Let's take a look at another one. Another way. And there's more ways. I'm just showing two. I'm showing the way that you would kind of do, trying to figure it out. And here's a way to do it a little faster. I'm going to draw a sketch. I'm just going to pick a plane. And I'm going to draw three circles. One, centered about the origin, always. Never draw a circle not centered about the origin if it's the only thing you're doing. I'm going to dimension from the inside out, 0.25. This is 7/16. And this is 1/2 inch. All right, there we go. Now let's extrude. Same way we did last time. We just have one additional dimension on here. Extrude Boss Base. Slightly different now. SolidWorks doesn't see the donut automatically. SolidWorks now sees three enclosed vector areas, or three enclosed areas in which it could extrude. Okay, so by default, SolidWorks is asking you a question. This selected contours box is blue, and that's SolidWorks prompting you that this is what it thinks you need to do first. Okay, it's actually true. I want to do the first one, the same one we did before. I just have to select both of those. I'm going to select these features so that I can do the same thing I did in my first step on my last one, and it's going to be 0.26. Now, last time I created a sketch on this surface, but I already have a sketch. I could extrude this way. So let's take a look at that. How would I do that? Well, I'd click on Extrude, and then SolidWorks would say, no. You need to select a plane, a planar face, or an edge on which to sketch, or you need to find an existing sketch to use in order to use the features. Well, I have an existing sketch, but how do I get to it? Well, it's right up here. I just need to expand this, expand the feature I just created, which then shows me the sketch. And I click on the sketch, and now SolidWorks says, well, obviously you want to do this, and I don't. I'm going to clear these selections by right-clicking, and then I'm going to select what I want, and I just want this, and I want it to go the other way, and I want it to go 250 thousandths, and I'm done. Okay. So the trick there is to use an existing sketch. This looks like it was done the exact same way, but if you notice that the previous way showed sketch 1 and sketch 2, this is using the same sketch. So you can create a sketch with all sorts of geometry and not use it, and then come back to that sketch and use it for other things. So it's pretty handy. All right, let's save this. And this is the bushing. I've already saved it. The brass bushing. We just finished. Make sure you assign a material to that of brass. Let's look at the main shaft. We're going to do this first. Now this is just a 1/4 inch diameter cylinder, 1.21 inches long, but it's got a little shoulder cut into it. So let's start with the cylinder. That's easy. We've done that before. So File, New. Okay. I said it was a 1/4 inch diameter. doing the same thing over and over and over again, which is good. Repetition is good. So 1/4 inch diameter, and we're 1.21. So there's my sketch. It's fully defined. Let's go to features. Let's extrude. And I said it was 1.21. I'm just going to do it blind rather than mid-plane. Cool, we got it. Now I need to get that shoulder on there. Now there's a number of ways you could do it. I'm going to show you the way that I want you to do it because I need you to be able to insert a plane. In order to do something and have it happen correctly, it needs to be on a plane. This is a cylindrical surface. You can't draw a rectangle tangent to that cylindrical surface. It just doesn't work. So we need a plane to do it the way I'm proposing I do it. So how do you create a plane? Well, you go into the reference geometry tab in the features toolbar, and plane is the very first choice. You create a lot of planes in SolidWorks. Right now, SolidWorks is asking you a question. The blue box is the question. It's saying, hey, what's your first reference? Well, I want a plane parallel to a plane that already exists, because I know it exists because there's 3 of them. There's the front, the top, and the right plane. And I'm going to create a plane parallel to the top plane. And this will make more sense if you're not seeing it yet. I want, and just because I've done this before, it automatically did it. But let's change this dimension here to say 200 thousandths. I want that plane tangent to the top of this cylinder. It doesn't have to be, but in order to do the math to be right, if this plane were tangent, I could say to go down 50 thousandths and it would be correct. So let's move this plane down tangent. It was 1/8 of an inch because the diameter is 1/4 and this plane is at the center of the circle, so a plane parallel to it tangent would be at 1/8. And then I'm going to hit OK, and that's it. Now, another thing to remember is that planes are infinite, but planes that are represented by a rectangular box in SolidWorks don't appear as though they are, but I like to make them a little bit bigger than the parts around it so that I know I'm selecting the plane and not the surface. So let's sketch. I'm going to click on sketch, and SolidWorks is going to say, what do you want to sketch on? Well, I want, oh, it automatically chose plane 1 because I had it selected, so that's cool. Sketch 2 is in plane 1, so that's great. And I want to just draw a rectangle. Let's get normal to this. I want to draw a corner to corner rectangle. So by default, corner to corner is there. If I wanted to change the type of rectangle I'm drawing, I can hit the drop down, choose center, 3-point center, parallelogram, but I want a corner to corner rectangle. And I'm going to hover my mouse right at this corner until I see an orange dot. That means it is coincident. And then I'm going to bring my other corner up until I get a horizontal orange line. That means it's coincident with that edge. Now the only dimension I need to put in here, because I'm still underdefined, it's still blue, is this length here, which in this case is 250 thousandths. So I'll dimension that from here to here. It's 0.25. Look at that, magically it's fully defined. Now I can just cut straight down. Okay, so features, extruded cut. I get so used to extruding solids, I forget that sometimes I cut. And I am going down, let's see, it's 250 thou overall, and there's 200 thou left. So let's just use that information, just to not do math in our head. It's 250 thou overall minus the 200 thou left. We're left with 50 thousandths. Hit OK. There's my flat spot. That's my part. Edit the material. Low carbon steel 1020. Apply. Close. File save as. Put it in that folder. right? I'm not going to really save it because I've already got it here. Its main shaft is already done. Okay. Now I want you to do the next one. I want you to hit pause. I want you to draw the crank disc. Okay, but I don't want you to drill any of the holes. I just want you to draw this cylinder. It's a cylinder 1-inch diameter, 300 thousandths deep. Go. Hit pause and do it. Alright, I assume that you did that. I'm going to now show you Hole Wizard. It's a very powerful tool. We're going to use it to drill 3 holes. File, new. Okay. Sketch. I'll grab the front plane. Circle. Coincident with the origin. Smart dimension. 1 inch. If I'm moving too fast, just hit pause and go back. Isn't video great? I'm fully defined. I'm going to extrude. I'm going to do a mid-plane because there's a feature at the center of this, and I want that plane to be used to my advantage. That's where you needed to be. Not so bad. All right, let's get normal to this front. So we're going to draw the 2 easy ones first. We're going to do this 1/4 inch one and an 1/8 inch one. So, easy. Hole Wizard. It's right here. It's in the Features toolbar. Feel free to pause and explore this a little bit, but I'm going to tell you that right now if you hover over this, there's all sorts of different holes that you can drill. We're just drilling a standard hole. It's not a slot, it's a slotted hole. It's not a counterbore, it's not a countersink. There's no threads in this one, it's just a hole. So I'm going to click on hole, and it's grayed out. And then I'll show you a couple other tricks. In type, instead of all drill sizes, we know it's fractional, so let's just choose fractional and we can avoid scrolling through all the rest of this stuff. It just saves so much time. Because I want a 1/4 inch hole. And there it is. Found it super fast. And end condition, we're going to say through all. Okay. I don't want near or far side countersink. I just want that. Now, that's the type of hole. Now we need to click on the Positions tab. Once we've clicked on the Positions tab, we select that surface by clicking on it. Now the surface that we're using Hole Wizard on is blue, and I have a representation of the diameter of the hole, and I can move it close to where I want it, dump it, and then dimension it. But I want it centered, so I'm going to dump it right at the origin. As soon as I get that orange dot and the coincident logo, boink, there it is. If you click again, you're going to get another hole. You don't want that. And I'm just going to hit OK. My type is correct. I double checked it. The position is correct because that's where it's supposed to be. Click OK here. And there it is. And we have a Hole Wizard in our toolbox, in our design tree. Okay. So let's do the next one. We have an 1/8 inch hole, 3/8 of an inch from the center. So I'm going to click on Hole Wizard. By default, SOLIDWORKS is going to leave everything that was there the last time. The only thing I have to change is the diameter. I want 1/8 instead of 1/4. There's 1/8. Okay. And positions, a little different. I'm going to select the surface, and then because I know it's in line with the origin, I'm going to hover my mouse over that origin, and I'm going to get that blue dashed line showing that it is in line with the origin, and I'm going to dump it about right there. And then I'm going to hit Smart Dimension, and I'm going to dimension from the center of the origin to the center of that hole, and it said that it's 0.375 inches, and we'll let it round for right now. It's fine. Click OK. There's the other hole. Now, in order to drill this next hole, we need to do that whole plane trick again. So do that. You can follow along with me or do it yourself. Ignore me for a little bit. Let's click on plane. My first reference, bring my, in my my design tree down, and I am going to look at the 3 planes that exist, and I want a plane parallel to that plane. Okay. Now by default SOLIDWORKS says, oh, you want it to be 1/8 of an inch because that's what my last one was, but I don't. I want it to be whatever the radius of this is, and this is a 1 inch diameter, so I want it 1/2 an inch. So I click OK, and now I have a plane. Cool. I am going to also remind you again that plane is infinite, but the one that's created isn't so much, so I make it a little bit bigger just so I don't accidentally select the part surface and try and sketch on that. There we go. Here we go. Hole wizard. This is a different hole. Let's get normal to it. So I'll come up here to my view orientation, click on this top view, and it gets me normal to that top view, so I'm normal to that. And I'm going to click hole wizard. Now, according to this, I want a number 540 drill and tap. Okay, I can do that. I'm choosing a different hole type now. This is not a normal hole now. This is a straight tap. And technically this is a bottoming tapped hole, but reality, it's going through this and it's coming through. It doesn't really need to be a bottoming tapped hole. But you can leave it there. Technically I just do this as a straight, or as just a regular tapped hole, but we can do bottoming, it's fine. End condition is not through all, it's blind. We're going to go 1/2 an inch because that's what the plan set says, so we'll do it. Alright, and thread, we'll go 1/4. Okay, and we're going to use the thread call out, and now we just need position. I'm going to select the plane, not the surface, the plane. See how different that is? Watch what happens when I hover over this plane and when I hover over the surface. The surface is now blue, like I selected it, although I haven't. I just hovered over it. Oh, forgot the size. 540, sorry. Got distracted. So much going on. Alright, back to positions. Okay, so I need to select that. And now I can select the, there we go. Hit OK. Now, I accidentally screwed up. I actually did it on purpose. And that hole went all the way through because something changed. So how do you edit a hole wizard? Well, you right click it and you click on Edit Feature. And it switched default to through all again, and we wanted that blind, and we wanted it 0.5. And I wanted my thread to be 0.25. Actually, it needs to be more than that, but whatever. There we go. We technically need that thread coming all the way through this, so that's why I said it technically isn't a blind hole, it's just a regular hole. So here's what we just covered in less than 1/2 an hour. We talked about sketch tools, feature tools, mid-plane versus blind. In the bushing you learned how to do multiple features from one sketch. On the main shaft we learned about creating offset planes and sketching on them. And then we just got done doing the crank disc and you learned about offset planes and hole wizard. That's a lot.